The Epstein files have been revealing a lot, but this time we want to get into some really disturbing alleged secrets of toxic plants that could take away someone's free will, the harrowing diary entries about babies being taken away, and a major update on the potential search of dead bodies on an Epstein property. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. If you've been following us here on Sidebar and our continued coverage of the Epstein files, you know there is no shortage of bizarre and creepy and strange and suggestive and just disgusting communications and content. But right now, there are three things that popped up that are so weird, so disturbing. I just wanted to dedicate a full episode to this, okay? An allegation that Epstein was interested in acquiring toxic plants that could take away someone's free will? What? For the guy who was accused of orchestrating a sex trafficking of minors operation, that's something we got to talk about. Diary entries, or what appear to be diary entries of an alleged young victim, they are horrifying. They may add more fuel to this idea of Epstein having secret babies. We have an update on that and an update on something that we did just a few days ago, an update on the claim, the allegation that there are dead bodies on Jeffrey Epstein's former New Mexico property, the Zorro Ranch, or around the Zorro Ranch. Got to talk about that. So I want to start with the plants, okay? So there are a series of communications about this. The first that I want to bring up is from Jeffrey Epstein. It's an email from Jeffrey Epstein to an Ann Rodriguez, okay? It's dated March 3rd, 2014. And he asks, "Ask Chris about my trumpet plants at nursery?" And the response later on is "will do." So one way to look at this is, was he referring to Angel's trumpet plants? I looked into it. So these are ornamental plants in the nightshade family. You see them in warmer climates, but you can grow them in greenhouses. And they're usually safe, but if you eat them, they could be toxic. One of the compounds in that plant, the reason we're talking about it, is something called scopolamine, okay? This can have a serious effect on the nervous system and can even cause hallucinations. You know, according to TMZ, scopolamine can cause memory loss. It can interfere with someone's free will. And there's something else about this. Scopolamine reportedly doesn't show up on toxicology reports either. To be a little bit more exact, our understanding is it doesn't show up on standard tests, maybe can be detected in targeted tests, but obviously you can see why this is a concern. And with that in mind, I got to turn to another email. It's dated January 27th, 2015, and this person is forwarding Jeffrey Epstein a Daily Mail article about scopolamine. In fact, it says forward, "Scopolamine, powerful drug growing in the forests of Colombia that eliminates free will." In the article, I'm going to quote it directly, it says, so again, why was this forwarded to Jeffrey Epstein? Why was this highlighted? "The most dangerous drug in the world, devil's breath, chemical from Colombia, can block free will, wipe memory, and even kill. Scopolamine, often blown into faces of victims or added to drinks. Within minutes, victims are like zombies, coherent but with no free will. Some victims report emptying bank accounts to robbers or helping them pillage own house. Drug is made from borrachero tree, which is common in Colombia." And I want to call out this section too from the article. It says, Dementia Black, a drug dealer in the capital of Bogota, said the drug is frightening for the simplicity in which it can be administered. He told Vice that scopolamine can be blown in the face of a passerby on the street, and within minutes that person is under the drug's effect. Scopolamine is odorless and tasteless. Quote, "You can guide them wherever you want. It's like they're a child." So this arguably shows that Epstein was aware of and maybe even was interested in the effects of this plant. And that brings me to another document that I got to call out, because it's one thing for Epstein to be interested in, maybe wanting to grow it, but what about using it and potentially using it for nefarious purposes? And remember, there have been allegations against Epstein that were very similar to what I'm talking about right now. You know, there was a FBI crisis intake memo that was in the files, and it was dated October 8th, 2019, and it says that at 8:40 p.m., Redacted called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report being an Epstein victim. Redacted provided the following information. Redacted was raped by Epstein in 1984 when she was 14 years of age. Redacted stated Epstein drugged her at Redacted in Redacted. Prior to being raped, Redacted came in and out of consciousness and stated Epstein's face was painted like a clown. All right, before we jump into everything, look, it's February. This is the time where we're all starting to get into a bit of a winter slump, but nothing rejuvenates like home cooking, right? HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. They deliver with recipes that feel good. They taste amazing every night of the week. As much as I always want to, cook from scratch, I don't have that time. But here's the good news. HelloFresh, which is so easy to order, just a few clicks, means I don't have to compromise my love of healthy or fun dishes. And what I love about HelloFresh is that they bring people together with meals that are just simple to make, but still kind of have that home-cooked feel. Who doesn't want that? They have over 100 recipes to choose from each week, everything from comfort favorites to recipes from all around the world. And if you want to try something new, that's the best part. For me, I would be looking at the Mediterranean options, the grass-fed ribeye steak. Big steak always helps beat the winter blues, right? And since their ingredients are hormone-free and sustainably sourced, I always know that HelloFresh is the healthier option. And they have GLP-1 friendly options now too, and over 35 high-protein recipes, so for whatever you're looking for. So when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. Go to HelloFresh.com/sidebar 10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free Zwilling knife, a $144.99 value on your third box. Offers are valid while supplies last, and free meals are applied as a discount on the first box for new subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/sidebar 10FM. Okay, what about using this plan? To be clear, I couldn't find anything definitive in the documents that he had used this plant, that he had used scopolamine to drug women or girls in any fashion and then sexually assault them. There's nothing blatant that I've seen to suggest that. However, I have to call this out because what we found here is very weird. It brings me to this document, February 2022. It is described as a victim impact statement that was sent to the United States Attorney in South Florida, Tony Gonzalez. And it's apparently from a Joseph Manzaro discussing an incident in December 2014 where he was drugged. Now, if anybody's been following us here on Sidebar for a while now, as I was listening to this and I was reading, I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And I realized we covered this guy. Joseph Manzaro, we don't know exactly who he is, but he is somebody we've talked about before. This person, apparently out of Florida, Joseph Manzaro, filed a lawsuit in Florida federal court. He claimed that he was a victim of sex trafficking and sexual exploitation at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and others. We talked about him. We covered this, his lawsuit, where through a victim impact statement, it's very similar to what I'm about to go through, it says that it was about 5:30 p.m. on December 26, 2014, when I arrived home. I unlocked my door, and when I turned the handle on my door, I got something all over my hand that resembled Vaseline. I said to myself, ew, that's disgusting. I rubbed my fingers together in my hands as I went in to wash my hands to see what the heck this stuff was. The next thing I remember was waking up in the backseat of a car and being driven somewhere. It was Eric McGeough driving and Bonnie Rivera in the passenger seat. I said, hey guys, what's going on? Where are we going? What am I doing here? Why are we driving anywhere? I'm supposed to be at home right now. Then I said, oh wow, I'm really sleepy. I need to just put my head back a bit. The next thing I remember was waking up again and hearing Bonnie Rivera telling Eric McGeough that I was waking up. He said, he's waking up because what should I do? Eric McGeough then told him not to worry, just give it a minute. He'll fall back asleep again. I gave him a lot of that scopolamine. He must have given me a blot because I'm practically immune to that stuff. As a child, I had to take it quite a bit to go deep sea fishing with my dad on the weekends, which I loved. I just hated being seasick and developed quite a large tolerance to scopolamine. I thought that to myself, though. So this is very confusing because there's no direct mention in this to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not sure why it's in the files, but how could I not mention it when it's another direct reference to scopolamine? Again, seeming Epstein had some sort of interest in the trumpet plant that had this. So what do we make of it? Not entirely sure, but it's eerie to say the least and something to think about. Now, second part, I want to talk about a diary, what appear to be diary entries. In the files, there appear to be these diary entries from what seemed to be a young girl. And in the passages, there is descriptions of abuse, trauma, pain. And while we talk so much about Epstein and the money and the alleged co-conspirators, If these allegations are true and what's being described, I just want to read you some samplings from this. And it centers around this person being pregnant and giving birth. These detailed, disturbing, alleged accounts of childbirth with Ghislaine Maxwell being right there. So as much as we talk about Epstein and all that, sometimes we don't talk enough about what these accusers, what these alleged victims went through. So let me read you from these, again, what appear to be diary entries. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Don't speak, she doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking and it's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These things happen. Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different again, I think from Israel. He had kind eyes, but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. A shot, and those rod-like things had a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I am so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more cries. And when you go to page 20 of this particular packet, chillingly, there is even a picture of a sonogram on a page with the words, "She is gone and she won't be coming back." And next to what appears to be a poem entitled Child, you have passages such as, "Your clear eye is the one absolutely beautiful thing. I want to fill it with color and ducks." Now, we don't know for sure who this person is. We don't know if this claim is real. We don't know if this sonogram is the baby the person mentions. And also, we can't confirm whether any charges or investigations were launched because of this specific account or accounts. But it seems the allegation is clear, right? That she was impregnated, and as I'll get into, either by Jeffrey Epstein, or maybe she was a surrogate of some kind, but the baby was taken away. And what is interesting when we talk about her credibility, at least to me, is the apparent specificity of detail and acknowledging certain personal details about Epstein. Like, for example, there's this passage. After so many bonding moments with Jeffrey, Ghislaine, their baby inside me, with me in the middle, she wouldn't even look at me. We said nothing to one another, and I was so confused. When we arrived at Palm Beach, I was taken to a house close to Jeffrey's, I think called Ocean Boulevard or Street. But it was close, and I was alone except for a new driver, not Mr. Juan. So that is seemingly in reference to Juan Alessi, who managed Epstein's Palm Beach estate, testified in Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial, by the way. So how would she reference Juan unless she, again, did have a connection to him of some sort? But before I go further into the diary, I do have to say this. We have heard about this before, the secret Jeffrey Epstein children or child. There were communications from Sarah Ferguson, formerly Prince Andrew's ex-wife, to Jeffrey Epstein like this. Don't know if you're still on this BBM, but heard from the Duke that you've had a baby boy. Even though you never kept in touch, I still am here with love, friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy, Sarah XX. How about this one? You've disappeared. I did not even know you were having a baby. If it was so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew, and that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know. Now look, we don't know if this is true, but if that was the case, this boy would be around 15 years old today. You couple that with a diary entry here from someone, the handwriting is kind of difficult to decipher, but she writes about feeling like a human incubator, says that Epstein talked about creating a superior gene pool. I want to go back to the diary that we're talking about. Page 19. My heart belonged to her. She was so very beautiful. She was perfect. I can't bring myself to write what happened. I am beyond broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. She is mine. I want her back. Distraught. Tomorrow's the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one stuck. After they took the first baby who survived in the early miscarriage, I think it was called, I no longer feel like a person but a vessel. Will they take this one too? Who has the first one? Where did Ghislaine go? She is never around. I can't let myself get attached. I'm not old or mature enough, or even the place to have a baby that I would be responsible for. I am not even able to focus on anything other than hiding this again. I had to go to eating disorder treatment prior to being in their situation again and missed the entire fall semester of school. I am so very exhausted. My body feels so tired. Will I ever be free? There's this one. I am such a monster. I didn't console her. I can't unhear her screams. They haunt me. I couldn't even bring myself to look at her. I am a monster. I deserve to be haunted by her screams. I am so sorry. I am so broken. This one. So sorry, Jeffrey. These things happen when your body had never been given time to properly heal. So it came out in the toilet, and I didn't know what to do, so I just flushed the tiny little fetus. You have made me numb, and I hate you for this. I hope I never have to see you again. I am not your personal incubator. Where is the baby? Where is Ghislaine? So that's in reference to what I mentioned before. And look, when you look through these pages, it is almost like a scrapbook of pictures and words that arguably paint a disturbing picture of abuse and trauma. Like this one. Our finance department deals with all the paperwork. Unfortunately, the finance department is also, and then written next to it, family. Who knew? Who knew? I was born a slave. There's a picture of a baby in a diaper with the words, I couldn't stay under the same roof. Your life will never be the same. In big, what appear to be stamped out words, maybe from articles, it says, heart is gone, inhuman profit. There's one that says, I love you so much, but it crosses out the you and puts her instead. Steals the baby, brought her such joy. You have a picture of a courtroom that says, you should never be here alone. There's a collection of words, protect the vanishing children through a child's eyes. I won't let pain keep me from surviving. And I have to mention this too. There is a call out to another Epstein associate, Jean-Luc Brunel, French model scout, died in his jail cell while being investigated out in Europe for sex crimes. This is the passage. Jean-Luc Brunel is a disgusting pig with bad breath, and I'm almost positive does these disgusting things because he's struggling with maybe being gay. 6 weeks wasn't even given before being sent back. Punishment for trying to run. Why can no one help me? Ghislaine is gone. I am so lost and my heart is broken. Is this my destiny? I don't know what to make of it other than, it's part of this collection. It's part of these files. It's important to mention. And if the allegations are true, it kind of gives you an insight into what was going on. Now, I mentioned we have one final topic here as we talk about alleged Jeffrey Epstein secrets. I mentioned this in a previous sidebar. Do you remember when I talked about the allegation that there are bodies buried in connection with Epstein's former New Mexico property, the Zorro Ranch? And this came out from a key document in the files. An email from November of 2019 appears to be directed to an Edward Aragon. According to KOB4, he's a local radio host. The other names are redacted, but it says, Edward, this is sensitive, so it'll be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G? Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex. Now, the last time I brought this up, okay, I explained how this property has been linked to allegations of sexual assault and how New Mexico lawmakers officially passed legislation to launch an investigation into all of this. Well, here's the latest. Now, the New Mexico Department of Justice just upped the stakes. They released the following statement. Upon reviewing information recently released by the U.S. Department of Justice, Attorney General Raul Torres has ordered that the criminal investigation into allegations of illegal activity at Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch be reopened. By the way, you hear how they say illegal activity, not just sexual abuse claims, illegal activity. Although the state of New Mexico's prior investigation was closed in 2019 at the request of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, revelations outlined in the previously sealed FBI files warrant further examination. Special agents and prosecutors of the New Mexico Department of Justice will be seeking immediate access to the complete, unredacted federal case file and intend to work collaboratively with our law enforcement partners as well as the Epstein Truth Commission recently established by the New Mexico legislature. As with any potential criminal matter, we will follow the facts wherever they lead, carefully evaluate jurisdictional considerations, and take appropriate investigative action, including the collection and preservation of any relevant evidence that remains available. We are moving quickly and deliberately on this issue and will provide updates as appropriate. Let me just say, keep a careful eye on what happens there too. But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can also follow us on NBC's Peacock. We have Sidebar episodes up there as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you next time, everybody.